It's all Corey Joseph's fault. Forget about the fact that the Spurs blew the 18-point lead last night. Forget about the fact that nobody on San Antonio could step up in the fourth quarter and even in the overtime session offensively when they truly needed a bucket. The team, as you saw in the Golden State series, in a similar situation, really doesn't have that go-to scorer. Yeah, they've got Manu Ginobili, but let's face it, Ginobili, only on target about 1/3 of the time in this injury-marred season. And Tony Parker is simply not a great outside shooter, although he had great success in game number 1 from three-point land. But really, yesterday's game between the Spurs and the Grizzlies, the blame all comes down on Corey Joseph's shoulders. Why? Well, you saw the backup guard goes to the line, 2 free throws, misses the first, hits the second. The last points scored in that game last night, and what a difference that free throw made. If you had the total last night, and let's use Brad Wilton for an example. $5 play of the day yesterday was Brad Wilton on the over in the game. Now, when Wilton released the play here at the site, and believe me, I had to do a lot of research on what to call this game yesterday. When he released the play here at the site, the line most places was 182 or 182.5. By 10:30 Eastern Time yesterday morning, that line dropped down to 181.5. It then proceeded to drop down to 181. And in some places, it closed either at 181 or 180.5. But as I always tell you, when it comes to judging games in terms of grading a game, whether it won, whether it lost, whether it pushed, etc., it's not the closing line that matters. It's when the play was available here at the site, when the line shifted during the day, when most of you, which I can tell, got access to the plays. Well, because Corey Joseph missed that crucial free throw, what happened? We had last night, of course, a game that finished 93-89, a total of 182 points. Again, that game opened at 182.5. So I had to say, for Brad Wilton, you have to take a loss. Even though I know so many of you out there either pushed or you happened to win with that total on the over last night, depending, of course, when you got it from Wilton, if you chose to get it, it's the $5 play of the day, and when you bet the game. Now, another handicapper at the site, I think it was Brett Atkins, for example. I allowed him to take a push on the game because he released it after the fact that it already dropped down to 182, and in some places it was 181.5 at that point already by the time he made it available to the public. So, there's so much that goes into the game, but it's all Corey Joseph's fault. And how about the side selection in that game? I mean, that line yesterday, started early in the morning at 5.5, but really it was pretty much 5 just about every place. Spurs, of course, after blowing the big lead, they won it by 4. So let me tell you something. Guys like Anthony Redd, guys like Craig Davis, who had monster plays last night on the Memphis Grizzlies, they are overjoyed that Corey Joseph missed that free throw. Now, other guys, however, that had the Spurs as a series play, they're very, very happy. They'll give away that game 2 failure to cover, knowing that their team is up 2-0 in the best-of-7 series. Why, of course, other guys out there, the Memphis Packers, they're not too happy that the Grizzlies, who they probably took as a nice little underdog in this series, it doesn't look good, down 2-0. Hi guys, Al DeMarco here, and thankfully, the NBA is giving us a respite for another game involving the Memphis Grizzlies that is going to be decided its fate in terms of who's covering or not in the final 2 minutes, because that series doesn't resume till Saturday. What's going on here? But key for the San Antonio Spurs, though, because with that aging team, let me tell you something, getting all that extra time off between games 2 and 3 and accounting for the travel can't hurt. But tonight, of course, we finally get the well-rested Miami Heat. Coming off a 6-day layoff, we, of course, remember what happened when they had a 7-day layoff against Chicago, don't we? I'll talk about that game, give you my opinions on it, plus a free baseball selection as well. Did I not stop the Cleveland Indians' winning streak last night? Yes, I did. I took the Detroit Tigers as your free pick, and Max Scherzer got the job done, and the Indians lost. So, Cleveland fans, yes, It's all because I went against your team last night. Okay, let's get to the good stuff here. A couple of coupon deals for you today. First one, what I've been doing here quite frequently here of late, I'll allow you to make your own deal by giving you a coupon that'll get you $35 off a single purchase today, and that coupon code is 35DEAL. 35DEAL. You can make it for a purchase of a handicapper's pick, a handicapper's package. The choice is yours. 35DEAL is that coupon. The second one, $5 play of the day. We have been very successful. We, meaning me giving you the plays and you betting them. We have been very successful here in the NBA playoffs with NBA total selections. And I've given you from the various handicappers as $5 play of the day releases. Many times I've gone to Anthony Red for these plays, and I'm going back to him again. Because today he has his playoff total winner number 6 out of 8. You've gotten the previous 7 of them all for $5. Total winner number 6 out of 8 in the postseason. $5 play tonight. He's coming off an 80-dime winner, of course, last night. Number 4 in a row and 11 out of 14 on the Grizzlies. And you can get the play today, the over-under for Game 1 of the Heat-Pacers series for just $5 and save $65 in the process by using coupon code 5RED. 5, R-E-D-D, the spelling of his last name, 5 R-E-D-D. Couple of the hot handicappers, as I alluded to earlier, Craig Davis, of course, cashed in with the second biggest NBA release of the season last night, a 75-dime winner on the Grizzlies. That's 75-dime winner, number 5 out of 7. He is now 9-1 in this postseason, going on or against the Memphis Grizzlies in the postseason. $10 bettors have already made $4,900 in the playoffs. They're up over $9,450 going back to November. In all sports, today goes for winning day number 30 out of 45 with a 30-dime play on Indiana and Miami. Jeff Benton, 80-dime, what he calls the dead mortal lock tonight on the Pacers and the Heat. Second biggest postseason play from Benton, and he goes for winning day number 5 out of 6. So those are a couple of the handicappers in basketball. As for me, I'm turning once again to baseball, and why the hell not? Last night, another winner for you, 5-dime play, San Francisco Giants. I'm down 2-0 in the first inning. When everything is going your way, I'm telling you, it's a beautiful thing, guys. When the breaks are going against you, you never, ever remember these things, trust me. But when things are going your way, it is a beautiful thing. I'm down early, 2-0. I'm down 2-1 going into the bottom of the 9th. I get a run in the bottom of the 9th by the Giants. I get a walk-off 2-run homer by Sandoval in the 10th, and I walk away with a 4-2 win. And today, a play equally as strong. It goes on the nighttime card. It's my 5-dime dog of the day. But, of course, it goes on the nighttime card tonight. It's also 5-dime winner, number 13 out of 15 on the heels of the Giants last night. And the Padres is a 130 dog over St. Louis on Monday night as I go for winning day number 26 out of 33 overall. And baseball winner, number 26 out of 32. Now, with all that being said, let's get to your free selections today. I will give you the baseball selection first, and, oops, you know what? Before I do that, guys, you gotta love live videos. Let me just double check real fast and see what the line is in this particular game in baseball, because it will affect whether I give it to you as a straight-up play or as a money line release. The Detroit Tigers, yes, there you go. I was surprised when I saw some movement earlier today with this line coming down. Overnight, the Tigers were 160, 165 favorite, but right now, you can get your Detroit Tigers for 145 to 150. And that's the way I would play them tonight for a second straight day at Cleveland. Now, listen, I know Justin Verlander has never really fared well against the Cleveland Indians. 31 starts against him. His ERA is 4.57. He has 14 losses against the Indians' lifetime as well. And the Tigers have only won 2 of his last 6 starts. And let's face it, Verlander's been rocked here of late. His last start against the Texas Rangers last week in that series opener. Last Thursday against Yu Darvish, he gave up 8 runs in 2.2 innings. The start before that, he faced the Indians, he was pretty ineffective there. 5 walks in 5 innings and 4 runs on 6 hits allowed against them on May 11th. But I think this is a good spot with Verlander coming off 2 successive poor outings, and the Tigers finally getting out of a 4-8 tailspin with last night's series opener 5-1 win, a game in which the Indians, a team that had been red hot, I think in their previous 6 games they had scored 37 runs. Last night they only had 3 hits in that game. I think this is a good spot to go ahead and take the Tigers here. Yes, they are a road favorite, but when's the last time you've been able to get Verlander, at anything under $1.65, $1.70 anyway? Seriously. The Indians are going with Ubaldo Jimenez, who actually has pitched pretty good here of late. I mean, he's got a 5.31 earned run average on the season, but he's got a 1.90 ERA in his last 4 starts. I tell you, one of the keys to my success in betting and handicapping baseball over the years is I memorize every single day. I read every single box score from the beginning of spring training right through the end of the year, and I have this memory where I can memorize the line scores for all the starting pitchers. And I noticed that Jimenez had been having much better control and had also been striking out a higher rate of batters here of late. And consequently, it's translated as his velocity has returned, his ERA has dropped. But even though he's pitched well here of late, I think it's time to, as I said, go against the Indians, who, as I said, had won 5 in a row prior to last night's loss. Listen, this is still a hot team. They've still won 18 of their last 22. They've still won 13 of their last 16 at home. And Detroit still 1 game under 500 on the road. But I thought the Tigers were the play last night, and I think they are once more tonight. Now, let's talk about Game 1 of the NBA series, and let me just double-check here for you here. Where are we at right now with the latest line? Yeah, 8. Still 8 just about every place. There was some movement towards 7.5 earlier today, but I think 8 is really the number you're dealing with. Here's the key when I look at this. Did the Heat learn their lesson? After coming out flat against the Chicago Bulls and as a 13-point favorite, losing 93-86 in the first round of that series, are they going to be ready here? They already know that they can ill afford to take the Indiana Pacers lightly, because remember last year Indiana jumped out to that 2-1 series lead before Miami then eventually turned it on and put away the series in 6 games. But let's remember something about last year's series. The Miami Heat were not as good of a team last year as they are this year. And the Indiana Pacers actually were better last year. Why? Because the Pacers had a healthy Danny Granger. The Heat, on the other hand, did not have nearly as good of a bench. The supporting cast for LeBron and company wasn't that good. And they lost Chris Bosh pretty much midway through Game 1 of that 6-game series a year ago, and he missed the final 5 games. Bosh is so critical to the Heat's success here tonight. Roy Hibbert played exceptionally well in the Knicks series. I mean, I thought one of the reasons the Knicks had a chance in that series was because Tyson Chandler had been such a defensive stopper all year. Hibbert used his size, really just took care of Chandler, pushing him out of the blocks, and consequently, Pacers dominated the Knicks on the boards. Now, the Heat are not a very good rebounding team. Although they got a little better, especially with the addition of Anderson late in the season, okay? Giving them some more size and strength off the bench. Not a good rebounding team. But why is Bosh so important? Because unlike Tyson Chandler, who is absolutely no offensive threat, Bosh is. His ability to make Hibbert play defense, drawing Hibbert away from the basket. When Bosh can hit that mid-range jumper, okay? Playing at the high post, drawing Hibbert away from the hole. That's going to be critical because that's going to open up the paint, allowing Miami slashers, James, Wade, to get to the basket. Bosh's ability to put points on the board is going to be able to make Hibbert work harder defensively and rob Hibbert of being somewhat of an offensive force that he really was in the Knicks series. Played exceptionally well. Now, the other thing we saw in the Knicks series was Paul George really blossomed. I mean, the guy's had a great season all season long because of the extensive minutes he's gotten in the place of the injured Danny Granger. But in the next series, he was taking on Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony does not have LeBron James's strength. He does not have LeBron James's ability to drive aggressively to the hole. Carmelo Anthony is very content to sit back there and shoot those 18 to 20 footers. Well, listen, LeBron can do that as well, but he has a whole other facet to his game. Why is this critical? Because Paul George's defensive assignment tonight, most part of the game and most part of the series, is going to be on LeBron James, who really did not play exceptionally well offensively in the last series against the Bulls. Had some big scoring numbers, but most of them were accomplished because of his free throw shooting. So I think that these are two of the keys here tonight. James's ability against George, who he should have a decided advantage against, and a healthy Bosh really being an offensive force against Roy Hibbert. And also the fact that I think Miami learned its lesson. So I like Miami in game number 1. I think that number is so attractive to take Indiana. What have I told you repeatedly about the Indiana Pacers in this postseason? Sure, they won game 1 at New York. Sure, they closed out the series against Atlanta on the road in game 6. But this team has been a tremendous play at home and a wildly inconsistent team on the road. That's why I lean a little toward the Heat. I think the general gambling public is probably going to be all over the Pacers here tonight. As I've told you many times, I believe that in series that often the best way to go is to take the first game off. I like to see how these teams come out and then base my play in the rest of the series on game number 1, because then you've got something to establish, a baseline level for both teams. So I think the Miami Heat are the play tonight. I'm not putting my money on it. Why should I, with the way I'm winning in baseball anyway? That'll do it, guys. Best of luck to you all, and I'll catch you again tomorrow morning.